You're listening to Heroes in the Moment. What's up, heroes? I'm Michael.
And I'm Nathan.
And today, Superman.
Come on.
This is...
Bum. Wait, is that Superman?
Close.
Oh, okay.
Close. It's...
Yeah,
there you go.
That's Superman. Okay, I think I was thinking like Indiana Jones.
You were doing it, a little bit.
They're both
John Williams.
So
he has a lot of that flair.
One of the greatest composers of all time.
Absolutely. So Superman, this is exciting because this is our first podcast. Like out of all the podcasts we've done, we've been doing this podcast for 4 years about the superhero, you know?
Yeah.
The original.
The OG.
One. Yeah, this is where all the other superheroes came from.
1939,
I think. 30s. It was 30s.
39.
Superman was created and born as the first superhero ever created.
The best of all of us.
The best. He was created as to be the best.
He's an immigrant.
He's an alien. That's for sure.
Getting worked up about that.
Man, Superman is so excited to be here finally. The first trailer released for this movie, becoming the highest and most viewed DC trailer of all time, just within 24 hours, I think it was.
Wow.
Which is incredible.
What's it at now? Like 50
million.
Wow.
Which is a lot of views.
Yeah, that is a lot of views.
And Superman's a character that everybody knows. You know, it's not like Iron Man or what. Iron Man's huge, but not everybody knows the name Iron Man.
Everyone knows Superman.
Everybody knows the name of Superman, no matter how old or young you are.
He's synonymous with American culture.
He is. He's exactly is because he's the original. He's the original superhero. And we're finally getting a Superman movie. The last one we got was Man of Steel from Snyder and with starring Henry Cavill.
Shout out the GOAT.
And we love Henry Cavill. We know Henry Cavill was such a fantastic Superman, but was limited with bad writing and limited with some difficulties. And there's still a lot of people that are Snyder writers, I like to call them.
Snyder. I like that.
And
Snyder writers.
They like Snyder so much, and they're like, oh, everybody's like Snyder, and everybody's like this. But Snyder's not good. And when people finally start to realize that, his cinematography, amazing.
His costume design, great. I liked, but his writing decisions were very poor. And he chose to show really one side of Superman rather than his Clark Kent.
They didn't give us the symbol of hope.
It wasn't hope. It was a lot more of justice and not really wrath, you know, but it was a lot more hardened Superman than we see.
And we love Henry Cavill. We think Henry Cavill's fantastic Superman. But David Cornsweet looks good.
He looks really good.
He looks really, really good.
They say it was his choice to put the chunks on the outside.
Amazing decision. Absolutely.
Shout out David Cornsweet, man.
Shout out David Cornsweet. Suit looks amazing. It looks amazing from top to bottom. We're excited for this movie. July release of 2025. I'm so excited. So let's get into this trailer for the first time. We're excited to talk about it. So the trailer begins with Superman landing in the frozen abyss. My guess is he's trying to get to his fortress of solitude, is my guess. Because we have to remember, this is already an established Superman. Yeah. This is not an origin story. This is Superman's already an established character in this universe.
Okay.
So he's landing he looks like he's beaten. He's been tossed to something. He's bleeding. I've seen a lot of people have issues with the fact that Superman was bleeding. What's your opinion on that?
I mean, we know what his weakness is. You know, like he'll bleed from kryptonite. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's that crazy. Considering the fact that he's going against like Lex Luthor too, I don't think it's that wild. So I foresee this happening like kind of halfway through the second act. This is kind of where he has to kind of rebuild himself and move back. Or who knows? Maybe the movie will kick off like this. That would be crazy.
That would be kind of cool. Established like he's already had a really big fight and he's needing a little bit of help or something like that. But I do like the creative choice of having Superman land in this frozen abyss, probably searching for his fortress, and him just laying there. And then it cuts over to him as Clark Kent, which I think is awesome because a big part of this movie is going to be his alter ego side, which is so fun because a lot of the appeal of Superman is Clark Kent, his other side. Him being a reporter for the Daily Planet. It's such a cool concept.
Is crazy.
He looks so different. And this is the first time I've ever seen that.
He got that that Riz curly bouncy bob that the kids do nowadays. It's weird. I saw someone on Twitter point out the fact that James Gunn intentionally has Clark Kent wearing a bigger suit that doesn't fit him, so it kind of downplays how big the character is. And that's the whole concept of Clark Kent is him downplaying himself so much. Whereas with I feel bad, constantly comparing it to, but with Henry Cavill's, and Snyder's interpretation, he just threw a pair of glasses on him. Yeah. You know, it's like, okay. But here, bro, oh my gosh. I don't know how he changes his hair. You know,
I don't know if it's a wig, if they make it a wig. It looks like a wig from the trailer.
He wears a wig to work. Dude. Yeah, just the fact that, you know, he kind of downplays how big he is and strong he is with, you know, clothes that don't fit him, I think is crazy cool. Yes. I think that's very smart.
I completely agree. And it's just really cool getting to see that Daily Planet reporter side. I don't know how much the movie will be involved with the reporter side. Because that's some of the appeal, like in the 90s series of the Adventures of Clark Kent and Lois, the New Adventures of Superman. I like that show a lot because a big part of it was just focused on them as reporters and then Superman coming in later. And I thought that was cool because them as reporters going around reporting and getting information and writing news articles. I thought that was kind of a cool concept. And him doing that and being with Lois is going to be an incredible sight. So he's walking around. He's going into work at the Daily Planet. So he's already established, already got his job at the Daily Planet. And then it cuts back to him in the frozen abyss whistling for Crypto, the super dog, which is a really cool creative choice. I have to admit, for them to bring in Crypto, because you can really see the fantastical elements that James Gunn's pulling into this universe. He's like, he wants it to be fully comic book. And I love that. I think that's so cool.
The first 20 seconds of the trailer.
Because that's one thing, you know, superheroes' appeal when live action PG-13 movies was the whole, you know, concept and idea of realistic.
Yeah, make-believe, fantasy.
Putting these superheroes into this world, into our world today, was kind of the Marvel's original concept. And then here is putting superheroes in their own world, their own fantastical fantasy element, which I think is super cool. Like,
I love that more.
Even, like, genuinely, I think this movie could be okay if it was PG. If they do it right. You know what I'm saying? Because of the whole idea of it being a fantastical fantasy Superman movie. I mean, obviously I wouldn't do PG, but it'd be kind of cool.
There's almost no like violence at all.
No violence, but maybe a little bit of violence. But there's already blood, so you know it's not going to be good.
You know, you're always going to have people who just hate on everything. I saw a lot of people like, oh man, they already have a dog saving Superman. He needs a dog. Stupid. They're like, why are they putting Crypto in the first movie?
I think it's cool. I think it's cool too. I mean, having Crypto the super dog, I think it's fun. It's and he made him look cute. I mean, it's just it's a lot of fun. I think it's really cool. All right, and then we go into the rest of the trailer with him in the Daily Planet talking with Lois Lane. Who is the actor who's playing
Brosnahan? Is Brosnan?
Rachel Brosnan. Yeah, right.
Something like that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Rachel Brosnan. Yeah. So Rachel, and I think she looks perfect.
She looks like a good Lois Lane.
She looks like a perfect Lois Lane. Like she's already kind of that cockiness feel. Like she's a reporter. She's a what's the word I'm looking for? She's experienced. She's knows what she's doing. Then Clark's coming in, and then he's gonna being her partner, and he's already playing into he's tripping over himself, tripping over his words. He's like, he's this nerdy character, and it's so good because that's how Superman should act. Well, yeah. Like Henry Cavill. Nothing against Henry Cavill. This is all against the writing. But Henry Cavill's Clark Kent was so regal, and he was so
regal and stiff. He was Superman and Clark Kent. He was Superman and
Clark Kent. But this,
similar to Matt Reeves' Batman.
Exactly. But if you put these two next to each other, you wouldn't, like David Cornstalk's Clark Kent and David Cornstalk's Superman, you couldn't tell the difference.
And that's what makes the character work.
Yes.
That drastic difference.
Exactly. And it's so cool to see that element in this movie. All right. So then we got some elements of where it's going to maybe have some past sequences potentially. We have him in Smallville with his dad. I don't know if they're going to kill his dad off like in other incarnations of Jonathan Kent or how they're going to do it. But he's in Smallville with his dad and has like a lot of that. Maybe you're going to have some past sequences. We're not completely sure.
Yeah. Every time, this is such a tangent, but every time I see Smallville and his dad and the farm, I think of Interstellar and Cooper.
Yeah. Yeah,
I read what if his dad was Matthew McConaughey?
What if Matthew McConaughey? Perfect. And it ties all in. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Interstellar.
That would be crazy.
It's almost like Christopher Nolan had a hand in making Man of Steel. He produced it. No way.
I know. I see so many people, saying that, and it's like, listen, he didn't direct it though.
He did not direct it.
It would have been much different. I do feel. All right, so this scene was. This scene there was a lot of cool stuff in this trailer, but this scene in particular I thought was amazing. So it's just Superman rescuing a girl from a seamless explosion. I thought that scene was so beautifully shot. I thought that scene was so cool because it was realistic, and it brings back that more grounded version of Superman that everybody loves. Like, not only are we getting Superman in this world and introducing us in after Creature Commandos and all this fantasy elements, but we're also getting this natural Superman who's just here to save the average child from something simple,
That was my favorite scene of the whole trailer.
I think that's so cool.
He zooms in last minute. You see the speed and power, but like the gentleness he shows by holding her close as the explosion goes off. Like you said, we want to see that grounded character who takes care of civilians, who watches out for the best of society. Right. And you think of like, we don't see that too often anymore. You think of Battinson, who was saving the civilians from drowning. You think of like maybe in the first Tom Holland Spider-Man movie, but it's been a while since we've seen those
saving people from basic stuff. Yeah. Not like this huge like monster coming in and destroying all.
Tobey Maguire saving the train.
Exactly. That was beautiful. That was one of the best scenes in the entire trilogy.
The suits
probably
ripping, that's perfect.
Perfect. Exactly. And this was so cool. It's a nostalgic feel to it too, because it's like going back to the roots of Superman just saving the average Joe from whatever dangers that are out there, which is so cool. Like I like the idea of, is it a bird, is it a plane, is it Superman? Like that element coming back, the old elements coming back into this is just so cool. And so
it plays really well in today's world, I think.
It does. It plays that's
very
what we
well.
need.
It doesn't age.
And then we get our first shot of Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor in Luthor Corp.
He's a hater.
Dude, but he looks so good.
They say he went bald and wore a bald cap. I saw some dude on Twitter say, there's never been anybody more bald than Nicholas Hoult at this moment. He's completely bald wearing a bald cap.
Dude, he's a bald guy.
That's two balds
that's commitment.
In one man. Yeah, that's a lot of commitment.
But I think it looks great. I've seen a lot of again, everybody's going to pull the nitpick every single thing of anything. But I've seen a lot of people complaining about his Lex Luthor, saying, he doesn't look like Lex Luthor, I think. Whatever. I can see that. Maybe you want somebody a little older or this, that. But I think he looks great. I think he's a great actor with, underrated abilities that hasn't been really given a chance, an opportunity.
Yeah. He's a younger guy, too. It'll be a younger Lex Luthor. I think a lot of people are kind of used to that really hardened and ironed, a little older Lex Luthor.
Right.
I think Nicholas Hoult could get there for sure.
I do too. And I mean, he's a great actor. I mean, I think regardless of how it's going to be, he will do much better than the Batman vs. Superman Jesse Eisenberg rendition of Lex Luthor.
I would like to point out, I believe that definitely fell on Snyder, because I loved, what's his face? I love Jesse Eisenberg.
He's a fantastic actor.
It's fantastic. And they decided just to make him the Riddler.
But he literally was the Riddler.
Which he would have been the perfect
he'd been such a good Riddler, dude.
He'd been such a good Riddler. Such a good Riddler.
Perfect.
He's essentially Riddler if you saw him with the green. Ooh.
Yeah,
but
100%.
That all falls on Snyder.
Yeah. So, and also Lex Luthor has been confirmed to be the main villain of this movie, which I think is cool because it's grounding itself because, as we know, Joker to Batman and Lex Luthor is to Superman, right? That's his arch enemy, 100%. And starting with him is really cool because that's what the original Superman movie did a lot too. The Superman the movie, Lex Luthor was the villain in a lot of ways. And I think it's cool how they're doing that where he's the main villain, but they're not going to kill him off in this movie. I think that's cool too. They're going to keep him going.
That. Yeah.
That's great.
Who's going to kill him? Superman's going to kill him?
No. They're going to keep Lex Luthor going and maybe build the League of Doom in a better way than they were trying to do. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think it's super cool how they're doing it. And then we have, looks like Superman locked up in a cage of some kind. So this is my theory. I think he's locked up in this cage. Maybe there's kryptonite in there. And then he breaks through it. So maybe the kryptonite gets taken away and then he's actually gets his powers back and then he can break through it. I don't know. Or maybe it's
he's punching that thing.
Maybe Lex Luthor tries to try an experiment way to capture him. It doesn't work.
There's definitely a lot more to that scene because on first look, it just looks like Superman punching the glass wall.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, what's impressive at all about this? Like most humans could probably do that. But one thing I saw, apparently that scene was shot with like 3 different kinds of cameras with different lenses, and that it like swaps as it moves to the right. And
that's crazy.
It's actually a brilliant shot scene that you gotta rewatch to catch. But I do wonder, like, it just feels like a weird scene to put in the trailer.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, but I think it's cool. It's interesting. It's grabbing the eye of like Superman punching through his glass. What's the scene? What's setting up exactly? But then this is another one of my favorite scenes, similar to the girl being rescued in the trailer. Is you just hear before it even shows it, you hear a faint little boy calling for Superman, and then you see him pulling up this flag in the air with Superman's flag on it, with his symbol on it, and just saying Superman quietly, like clinging to it, like he's needing help. And just saying Superman. Like, I think that was brilliant because it's like that call to hope. He's that symbol of hope that they're building.
And he cares for someone as small as one child.
As just one little boy who needs his help. And he was probably going to swoop in any second and help that boy, unless he's captured or something. That's we don't know the background of it. But I think that's so cool and just such an awesome element of this trailer that it accomplished. Another cool part of this trailer is showing it's already an established Superman. And a lot of people are hating on him. Why do you think they're hating on him?
I would say probably, with the whole public turning on him, either I think Lex Luthor could have easily arranged like a PR stunt to blame a certain, say, explosion or a death or something.
Or he failed or this.
Or he failed, say, to rescue someone. I think that could also change the public view. Point is, public view changes in a heartbeat, as we well know. So it really could be anything.
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
I agree. I'm thinking. Well, we know a big part of this movie is going to be the potential of a clone Superman, right? Because I think Lex Luthor is going to clone Superman in this movie. Have a clone. It's going to be Ultraman, and Ultraman in the comics is a clone of Superman that turns bad. All this stuff because there's Bizarro and there's Ultraman, and we see Ultraman in the trailer with a helmet on, fighting him in that football field.
Okay.
Right. So I think that it's definitely a possibility that we're going to get him fighting against his own self, and his own self being like him being framed for something he didn't do.
Yeah.
Something
like destroying something.
Right.
Yeah. Hurting somebody.
And then him being blamed for it and the result of that. And that's going to be a big conflict.
Guys, it wasn't me.
Right. It was an alternate version of him.
Okay.
And I think that could be a cool thing they're going into as well for that. So we get into
that works really well.
Yeah. I think
because if you're Lex Luthor and say maybe you don't have the capabilities to necessarily kill him,
you got to create
you have the capabilities
something that can.
to destroy his image,
and then
his
create
public
something
support.
That could potentially kill him. Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
So we get him going into Stag Industries, which we know Stag Industries from the comic is a place that meddles with chemical and genetic research and all that kind of stuff, and it has all these different characters working for him. As we see Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner, Green Lantern, with the crazy haircut.
Comic accurate.
Which is comic accurate.
That's something else, man.
And we get him as Guy Gardner, which is really cool to see Green Lantern finally in live action once again.
I know.
As well.
In the first movie, too. Hey.
Yeah.
Come on,
yeah.
man.
And we see Isabella Merced, hot girl, in the movie as well.
She looks great.
Wearing a similar suit to Nathan Fillion.
She's going to be great, man.
Oh, she's going to be great. And then we, a little later in the trailer, we see Mr. Terrific as well.
He looks so good.
He looks so good.
I thought he kind of had the best looking costume possibly out of anybody.
Looks so good.
He looks
so comic accurate. So comic accurate.
He looks perfect,
because what's Eddie Gathagi, who played in X-Men First Class as Darwin, getting his repeat. Excited to get him back as Mr. Terrific, and he looks great. So apparently these characters are working for Stag Industries in some capacity. Maybe they're working for Luthor, working through Stag, and maybe at first they're like a sentence, or their job is to attack Superman or to get him down. But this is also kind of reminding me a little bit too much of Black Adam and the whole Justice Society with the Hawkman and all this stuff. But I'm like, I don't think it'll be that. I think it'll be a lot better than that. But these three characters, a hot girl and Guy Gardner's Green Lantern and Mr. Terrific, are all working for Stag in some way. Okay. And eventually I think they'll break away and do their own thing. But right now that's what they're doing.
Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate was...
Oh, so good. Perfect.
You know, I'm not saying bring him over, but I'm kind of saying bring
him over. Bring him back. Get him the redo he deserves. Oh, and then we see this giant monster thing fighting at Superman in this movie. And I'm also curious about that scene.
Yeah.
I don't know who that monster is exactly, but it sounds cool.
I don't know.
Then we get this iconic John Williams Superman score, which I think is phenomenal. I think that's so exciting. in the background with the Fortress of Solitude being built, and we can see that. And then we get in a few quick images, we see Lois Lane kissing Clark Kent because classic, we know that's going to happen. We see Superman's robot from this Fortress of Solitude, like his robot companion that helps him. I forget the robot's name, but is apparently died or like got destroyed for some reason, which is like brutal.
No, bro.
And then we see a clip of Metamorpho. That's going to have apparently a really big part in this movie, played by Anthony Carrigan, the guy who played Victor Zsasz in Gotham, right?
Really?
And he also was Caspian, not Caspian. What was his name in Logan? The guy who couldn't get in the sun or whatever.
Yeah.
Metamorpho is going to be a big part. Apparently, a big part is like Metamorpho is going to be like misunderstood, and Lex Luthor or Stag is going to use him to their favor, and Superman's going to have to fight him. But reality Metamorpho is good, and that's going to be like a big part of the trailer is like them trying to get Metamorpho's powers to try to take down Superman, but then Metamorpho going against him, something like that capacity.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
So we'll see that. And we get Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor once again.
It seems like there's going to be a lot of side plots.
That's the thing I'm also looking at. There's going to be a lot going on. There's going to be a lot going on because
with Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl,
those
Guy
are
Gardner's
characters.
character.
And
the
that, the Lex Luthor, the Metamorpho plot,
Crypto, potentially.
All of these characters.
The Lois Lane.
It's hard to balance this and then the Daily Planet idea. It's going to be hard to balance.
That's a lot to put into a movie.
It's a lot to put into a movie. But if they're starting this high and heavy, I don't know. You have to put in props. Yeah. You have to give them props because you're like, okay, maybe they know what they're doing if they're putting all these characters.
I tip my hat to James Gunn.
Yeah.
I will.
Which I think it's so cool that we are getting an already established. I mean, there's already superheroes. We already know about them. Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, Green Lantern. We already know about Mr. Terrific. We already know about these characters. And then Superman on top of that. And it's his movie, but it's already an established superhero world. And it's just a matter of putting these stories that they're wanting to tell into place.
Yeah.
I do think is really cool. So let's talk about some of the other negative reviews that we've saw talk about with this trailer in particular. A lot of people are saying that the colors of this movie or this trailer release are not looking good and looking more fan filmy. What do you think about that?
I do see what they're saying. I think at some points you can tell that, maybe some of the colors, maybe some of the CGI is maybe not what you'd expect. Obviously, you do hold out hope that it's not, not coming out for another 6 months, that stuff will get cleared up. But then again, you never know. Yeah. I do trust James Gunn, and I haven't really seen much of this from him. Right. So I don't know if this was kind of like, to be honest, I thought this trailer was kind of coming out a little early. I was more expecting like a Super Bowl.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking a Super Bowl drop. I think a big reason that he wanted to release it before the end of the year is to build that hype. He wants this movie to be huge.
Yeah.
And I can see that. So I think that was a big core reason. But back to talking about the colors, and a lot of fans saying it looks like a fan film. It looks like a lot of people are saying the CW did a better job when it comes to like a lot of their stuff with it.
CW did a better job.
When it comes to like the colors,
that's
and
something.
Costumes and that kind of the costumes look weird and all this stuff. But I'm like, at the end of the day, I saw those things too, and that was my first initial thought before the trailer with a little snippet they teased. I was like, the color looks a little off.
Yeah, but some of it does look a little cheap too.
I think it looks cheap, that kind of thing. And I think a lot of it is because we're not used to seeing a DC film with color. I think that's a big first thing.
Yeah.
We're not used to seeing this much color and this much realism in a movie when that, like a lot of it looks realistic, even though it's all fantastical, it looks realistic.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's something that if that doesn't take away from the plot in the movie or the writing or the stuff, is it really that big of a deal at the end of the day? Yeah. Sure, we want it to be a perfect, made to colored images and all that stuff. But if it has a good plot and good writing, good characters, what's the big deal? At the end of the day.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. If you look kind of at a side by side with Man of Steel, like you said, it's very gloomy. There's a lot of grays. There's a lot of blacks. There's a lot of grays.
Whereas this
color doesn't really stand out.
No. Where this, it's very red, very blue, very gold, very there's just so much color. So I think it's a big difference,
and it fits Superman too. It fits Superman as a character.
So we'll see. I mean, I see what they're saying, but I'm not as worried about that as long as the plot's good and it's backed up and reinforced with that. So we'll see. I'm excited for it.
It is a valid point, but like I said, like DC's fans are so starved that they're not used to actual colors.
No, they're not. So we'll see how it goes. But I'm super beyond excited. It's definitely my most anticipated.
It's my most anticipated. I will piss the entire movie.
Yes,
out of excitement.
Absolutely. No, it is my most
Sweeney
anticipated
depends.
project of 2025, I believe. But there's not a lot coming. But I do think, I mean, Fantastic Four is as well. But I'm definitely anticipating this more than anything as of right now for 2025. So I'm super excited for this.
Should we do like an early ranking?
Oh, that's early.
Is one trailer too early for early ranking?
Very early. 8.5.
I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna just. If I go low, I won't be disappointed.
True.
So I'm gonna go 7.5.
7. That's fair.
Because I really do think 7.5 will probably be the lowest it goes.
I agree. I think
I'm
gonna say 8.5.
Yeah, I think it'll settle between those two.
I'm gonna say 8.5. We'll see. Maybe it'll be like the craziest best superhero movie of all time. I doubt, but we'll see.
Yeah.
You never know.
I would love to see it.
I would love to see it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you all so much for listening to this episode. And as always, if you guys enjoyed it, please let us know by giving us a download and a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcast. If you guys want early access to our episodes and exclusive access to additional movie reviews, feel free to subscribe to our membership. Here's HQ. We also have a new feature on our episodes where you can send us a text message by following the link at the bottom of our episodes. You can submit your questions for Heroes Q&A there, or just shoot us a DM on Instagram. And then finally, feel free to also check out our YouTube channel and our Instagram at Heroes in the Moment.
And we just want to thank y'all for listening. And as always, we love you 3000.